And of course, in this day and age, it's particularly open source code for operating systems and web servers, Apache, that have the most prominent position. And we've realized now also that maybe there's not just this moral element to it, but it's a very sensible thing to do from a pragmatic point of view also. Because now you can maintain code jointly, which is done for Linux. And companies like IBM and Sun, which, by the way, is the same at the moment, have joined this movement and think there is a good business model in it. And of course there's companies like Ubuntu and Red Hat who make their money through selling installers for Linux. I need to speed up a little bit. Open content is the third example. Yesterday, Fred Mulder said, knowledge is a public good. And I'm not sure whether he realized, whether this was actually a moral position to take, which has far-reaching ramifications. But for society at large, it would be very good if knowledge indeed were a public good, which we could freely share. And then there is at the other extreme, of course, the idea that music should be freely downloadable. And the Swedish Pirate Party, which espouses this point of view, got elected with 1 seat in the European Parliament, which shows that there is a sizable group in the population which holds a similar view. And of course, economies of scale, better quality, and so on. We've talked about that over the last 2 days, are the benefits. And finally, there's open learning, started in the 70s. Open learning very much has a moral strand to it. It provides access to education for all. And this was the idea, I think even the predominant idea when in the 70s and 80s, the Open Universities of the Netherlands and of the UK and of Japan and others were founded. But of course nowadays we realize that having an open university and the kind of industrial model of producing education is a means of fighting the rising costs of education, and there are indeed it's a way of seizing business opportunities, as Phoenix University does. Okay, now, I feel that the open, like I explained, the open movement is characterized by both this moral justification and pragmatic benefits. And I feel that these should remain intertwined. There are these two aspects, and they're essential to the open movement. So they're essential to open learning, and they're essential to open educational resources. For pragmatics without morals degrades into opportunism, and morals without pragmatics may turn into a kind of zealotism, which unfortunately Richard Stallman sometimes exhibits. Open learning and learning networks. I'm not going to talk about that. I can feel your gaze upon me. The idea, one sentence or 2 sentences maybe then. The research project that I'm working on at the Open University is an attempt to give a new life to this idea of open learning by turning it into network learning. Networks of people where knowledge and interactions are possible in a very free way. And of course, open context plays an incredibly important role there, because it is the motor that drives the interactions that in the networks and the communities that arise within it take place. And with these final words, I would like to hand over to Terry. I will leave the timing device here so you know.
Okay. Well,